A few weeks ago, a New York minister, Pastor Stephen Kim of the Mustard Seed Church, posted some helpful guidelines for Christian men seeking a suitable spouse. His article was called 10 Women Christian Men Should Not Marry. Now, apparently this is a companion article to a previous blog that helps women find suitable men. I've linked both in the description box of this video, but quickly, here are the 10. Number 1, if you're looking for a suitable wife, avoid the unbeliever. Very important that your wife be a Christian, lest the Lord's anger burn against you. Number 2, avoid the divorcee. Yes, the divorced woman is off limits because only a first marriage is considered a valid marriage. If you divorce and have relations with another, you are an adulterer. Number 3, avoid the older woman. After all, it would require an extra measure of God's grace in order to lead a woman who is older than you. Men lead. They're the heads of households. They run the show. Older women might be a bit harder to control. Number 4, the feminist. God does not like feminists. After all, he created the woman specifically for the man. And a feminist probably won't say, yes, sir, no, sir, and do as she's told. Number 5, avoid the sexy dresser. Woe to the man who bonds himself to a woman who wears provocative attire. You see, a woman who exposes her skin is actually exposing her wicked harlot heart. It's hard to believe we're only half done with Pastor Kim's list of prohibitions, but let's push on, shall we? Number 6, the loudmouth. If she does this, you do this. Number 7, the child hater. Do not marry a woman who's not willing to have children of her own. In the Christian worldview, there's absolutely no room for two married, biologically capable human beings to remain intentionally childless. And if you want to remain childless, you had better remain single. Number 8, avoid the wanderluster, somebody who wants to get out and see the world and experience new places. Obviously a person who is not content, at peace. She hasn't found rest in God. After all, Proverbs warns about the woman who is loud and wayward, and her feet do not stay at home. Number 9, avoid the career woman. Ambition, specifically career ambition, is a huge red flag for men. Women are to be the nurturers of the home. So tell them to get back inside and have dinner ready about 5:30, would you? And finally, number 10, avoid the devotionless woman. Does she have daily prayer and devotional time with God? If not, you can keep moving. There's nothing to see here. Now, look, I could have saved Pastor Kim some space and summed up his guidelines, not with 10 criteria, but with 2. Essentially, Kim says the perfect woman should have 2 skills: sit down and shut up. That's right, men. According to Pastor Kim, don't find a woman who's got a strong character and a sense of identity. Don't bond yourself to a woman who sets goals and then strives to achieve them. Don't allow yourself to be attracted to a woman who sees herself as more than a subservient baby factory. Don't abide a woman who wears clothing that makes her feel good about herself, even attractive and sexy. Don't choose somebody who wants to grab life with both hands and make the most of every moment. Unless, of course, those moments are about making and raising babies. Don't make raising a family and bringing up children a choice based on your own circumstances and the desire of your heart. No, it's a command of God, and women should know it. Ultimately, don't find an equal, because a woman who's truly equal won't submit to you. And according to Iron Age primitives living out their male power fantasy and calling it God's will, the woman is supposed to submit to you. She's designed by God to submit to you. Not because you're smarter or wiser or more gifted, but because you essentially have the one attribute that God deems most important in the hierarchy. You possess a penis. You know, it's always interesting to watch men proclaiming that men should run things. They're like the politicians who vote themselves a pay raise and then pat themselves on the back for deserving it. And for those Christians who protest that Pastor Kim has a distorted view of women and has gotten it all wrong, take a fresh look at the scriptures that he cites in his article and all the biblical commands and opinions in regard to females. The problem is not a rogue pastor's interpretation or misinterpretation of Scripture. The problem is Scripture, which lines up perfectly with his claims that females are essentially second-class citizens, created to make babies and tell their husbands, yes, sir, and no, sir. The Bible is a misogynistic mess, and Pastor Stephen Kim's hugely wrong-headed perspectives about women can't be condemned because he got the Bible wrong. They should be condemned because he got the Bible right. Dr. Darrell Ray just posted a terrific blog on this very subject, and again, I will link that blog in the description box of this video. You know, perhaps the worst part is there are women in the Christian church culture who not only embrace, but celebrate this backward attitude toward them. And to them, I have to say this: there is a word that defines the scenario where somebody is kept in physical and emotional confinement so that they can serve at the pleasure of another. And that word is slavery. You want a happy relationship of any kind, a healthy relationship? It had better be a relationship where individuals, both male and female, are loved, respected, celebrated, and encouraged to live life on their terms, and not based on the writings of insecure men whose only qualification for superiority was that they could urinate standing up. Look, here's an idea. If you see a woman who somehow gains her worth from these 10 guidelines or measures herself against it, take her aside and remind her that she has value, that she was not born to serve another. She should bow to no one, that her life belongs to her and should be embraced with every fiber of her being. Her life should be lived on her terms without apology, and she should reject the Bible's backward opinion of who she is and who she should be, because after all, she is definitely worth so much more.